What's up, everybody? This is Pastor Chris coming to you with another passion profile for this Holy Week as we are making our way from Palm Sunday to Easter. Today, for our profile, I wanted to take a look at Peter. Now, Peter is a phenomenal character, is a phenomenal person because of his passion. I often equate Peter with just the passion of his beliefs, the passion and zeal in which he approaches each and every situation that he finds himself in. But maybe more than anything else, Peter has a passion for the moment. He seems to be just a very raw person. Whenever he encounters something that's good, he declares it to be the best. Whenever he finds something that is displeasing or upsetting, he calls it out and rebukes it and is just fighting in the moment for each and every moment. And in his passion for the moment, he is the first to step up every time. Maybe you can think for just a second of someone in your life who you recognize and see this kind of quality in. When stuff's going down, this person is right there. They are on top of it. And just as he is the first person to step up, he is the first person to end up with his entire foot in his mouth. He does this all the time throughout Jesus' ministry. He will say and do things, and Jesus, maybe one of his most famous remarks to Peter's statements is, "Get behind me, Satan." But whatever the case may be, he ends up in a what I might call a naive-driven bad place a lot, and Holy Week is no different. On the gathering together, the Last Supper, Jesus goes around and he talks about how someone at the table will betray him. And Peter defiantly gets up and says, "Nope, not me. Never gonna happen." And he is also right there after Jesus has been arrested and taken in by the authorities. Peter is questioned not once, not twice, but three times by random people outside of where Jesus is being held and on trial. Excuse me. And Peter says to each one, "I don't know the guy, never heard of him." And he denies Jesus' very existence in his life. And that's an honest telling that we have to come to grips with when we're looking at Peter's character. Is we often think of the role of betrayal, the role of turning their backs on Jesus, as maybe exclusively belonging to Judas. But Peter betrays Jesus just as thoroughly as Judas does, and for maybe less reason. We'll get to that later when we talk about Judas. But Peter, I don't think thinks about these things. I've heard sermons about how Peter, Jesus is on trial. If he comes to Jesus' defense, if he starts speaking about it, if they find out that his disciple is out there in the courtyard, they might arrest him too. So it was a self-preservation thing. I don't think it was that thought out. Considering all that Peter does and all that Peter is about, I think Peter had a feeling in his chest and his heart where Jesus is in trouble. People are like, "Hey, you know him, you're associated with him." And Peter just kind of goes, "Nope, nope, nope. I just want to be here. I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to do all this stuff. I just want to be present and watch what's happening. I don't want to be tied into it all." And it's a gut reaction. And I think he's just backpedaling at that point. I don't think he has a destination of where he wants to be. I don't think he knows exactly where he is. I think he is just denying who Jesus is in that moment. But what's the difference between Peter and Judas? Both betrayed Jesus, but Peter comes back and ask for forgiveness. Peter recognizes as the cock crows, just as Jesus told him, Peter recognizes where he is and what he's doing, and he feels the shame of it and wants to come back. Peter, in all of his missteps during Jesus' ministry, he wants forgiveness. He wants to understand. He wants to follow Jesus wherever Jesus will take him. And sometimes he messes up thoroughly in that area. But that doesn't dampen his passion for the moment, passion for the time that he's in. He lives by Jesus' teachings. He's not perfect. It's never about perfection. It's about a guiding faith, a principle in your life that takes you to where you want to be. And that's why Peter's so great, because his passion leads him to these monumental mistakes. But he's still ready to follow after he's made a huge mistake. And we can learn a lot from Peter in our own faith journeys as we follow after God, and sometimes we say and do things that frankly are terrible and a betrayal of what Jesus has commanded us to do. But we can come back. It isn't about perfection. It's about letting Jesus guide your next step, even when you so thoroughly screwed up the last one. Think if you have that kind of momentary passion like Peter does, if you react off the cuff very easily, if your emotions are kind of plain for everybody to see, or if you know somebody like that, think about what Peter has to teach us about maybe not doing better the next time, but still, what is the passion that drives you? What is the passion that makes each and every moment precious? Is it a desire to succeed? Or is it a desire to follow Christ whenever he calls, even if he's calling you from getting your foot out of your mouth? Anyways, I hope you're having a wonderful Holy Week. I hope you are finding this time to be a time of introspection, a time of being able to look inside yourself and be honest with who you are and where you are at, and ask God to guide you to the next step, just like Peter would. Peace.